Do you have a Social Security strategy? If not, today is the day to watch Your Money or Wealth. You look at the claiming strategies, and if you get this wrong, it could be a devastating situation on your overall retirement. There's so many different combinations. It's convoluted. It is complex. That's what we're going to get into today, so stick around. Welcome to the show, everyone. Show's called Your Money or Wealth. My name's Joey Anderson, president here at Pure Financial Advisors. I'm with, of course, the big man. There's Alan Clopine. He's sitting right over there. 2020 has been kind of a unique and strange year. You look at COVID-19 has put about 40 some odd million people out of work. And with that, there's a lot more concerns in regards to Social Security because if people are out of work, they're not paying payroll tax, hence what's going to happen to the overall system. So has your situation changed or has your strategy changed due to COVID-19? We're going to break down exactly what to do in regards to your Social Security benefit. That is today's Financial Focus. First things first, let's take a look at some statistics. Because for many of you, Social Security is a giant part of your overall income. Here's a study is that look at 50% of married couples and 70% of unmarried couples. Social Security benefits, the benefit that you receive is about 50% of the income that's coming into the overall household. 21% of married couples or 45%, it's almost 100% of the income, especially for unmarried individuals, widows, widowers, right? Almost half of the population, 90%, is based on that Social Security benefit. So you want to make sure that you get this right, folks. This is so important to your overall strategy. To break it down for us, let's bring in the big man, Big Al Clopine.
So when you're thinking about Social Security, you kind of need to start with the basics, like determining if you qualify and understanding what your benefit's going to be. That's kind of the starting point. But then it's like, when do you take those benefits? What are the claiming strategies? There's a lot to know here. And then when you're in a couple, husband and wife, even more. So we'll get into that second segment and even third segment. And Joe, this, when we talk Social Security, it affects virtually almost everybody.
Yeah, just about, right? But I think people don't really understand the true impact of Social Security. As you look at the statistics still, there's no real thought in the claiming strategies. A lot of people still today, as soon as they retire, they claim the benefit. But is that the best strategy? Let's break some things down for you, first of all. Is that who's eligible to claim benefits? Well, first of all, you need at least 40 quarters or 10 years. All right, so you have to put in the system for 40 quarters or 10 years or be married to someone for 10 years. Earliest age you can collect is age 62. If you are a widow or widower, actually that's 60 for a survivor benefit, which we'll get into. And then also spouses and survivors are eligible, but they don't necessarily have the 40 quarters as long as they were married to someone that had that 40 quarters, Al.
Yeah, and then Joe, I think learning or trying to figure out what your benefit is, the best way to do that, if you're not getting the statement each year, which many of us are not, you go on Social Security website, ssa.gov, and you set up an account and you'll be able to see what your benefit is. And what it typically does is it will do it by formula. It takes your 35 highest years of income. If you have less than 35 years, it puts 0 in those years. So the more years that you have working, the higher the benefit. And there's something, Joe, called a primary insurance amount, which is the formula that the Social Security Administration comes up with your benefit.
Right. You look at age, 35 years ago, you were making, let's say, $8,000 a year. And then they index with the inflation, and they look at, all right, well, that $8,000 a year, 35 years later, is closer to, let's say, $60,000. I'm just making the numbers up here. But when you look at Social Security benefits themselves, it's really geared to help lower income individuals, because let's say there's someone that made about $17,000, their Social Security benefit is almost $10,000. All right. The max benefit that you can earn right now is $25,000. So if you've maxed out your Social Security, because that payroll tax, once it reaches about $130,000 of income, you no longer put in to the Social Security benefit. You still put into Medicare, but you don't put into the retirement benefit or disability benefits. But the max benefit that you can receive today is about $25,000. So the lower income individuals will get a little bit higher percentage of their income. If you make a lot of money, of course, it's not going to replace. It was never meant to replace large income earners' income.
Right.
It's a supplement to help you to keep you off the streets.
Well, and I think, and so when we talk about the largest benefit that you can receive, that's if you collect at full retirement age. I mean, we know we can collect as early as age 62 and as late as age 70, but Joe, there's a pretty big difference in the benefits that you receive at those different ages.
So if I'm looking here as a quick example, my full retirement age is 66, and let's say it's $2,000 a month. If I claim at 62, I'm going to receive $1,500. If I wait until age 70, it's $2,600. $1,500 and $2,600, that's like a 76% increase. So the longer you wait, the more income that you're going to receive. But I get it, today's times are tough. You know, we're seeing people collect at age 62 because they got laid off, furloughed. And it's like, well, I need income, might as well retire, getting a job at 62 or 63, 65, getting back in the workplace. So we're seeing people forced into early retirement, making them claim their benefit a little bit earlier, where they might need to they should have maybe done a little bit more planning to really understand their numbers.
Yeah, and I think when you look at this is kind of exactly what you'd see on your benefit statement. But realize at the top it says at your current earnings rate, if you're working until age 66, working until age 70, working until age 62, you will receive these benefits. But here's what happens. People retire earlier. They retire at, say, 58 or 55 or 61 or whatever, so they're not going to be working up to that point with that same salary, so they may receive a lower benefit. Also, of course, there's inflation assumptions in there, so this is not meant to be exact. It's more, Joe, it's kind of more of an approximation.
Yeah, without question, because if you look at your Social Security statement itself, you go online, right, ssa.gov, open up your own account. If you haven't done that, please do so today. And then you can kind of see what your estimation benefits are going to be. And again, that's an estimate because they're not including, a cost of living adjustment on it, right? So what you've probably heard, if you had any information on Social Security whatsoever, most experts are probably going to tell you to wait till age 70. We're living in almost a negative interest rate environment, and if you can delay that benefit, you get an 8% delayed retirement credit. So for a lot of us, it's going to make a lot of sense. There's many reasons to take it early, and we're going to get into that right after the break. If you need help with your Social Security claiming strategy, go to yourmoneyyourwealth.com. We have a Social Security guide to walk you through all the rules, the regs, and some interesting claiming strategies. Go to yourmoneyyourwealth.com. Click on that guide. That is our gift to you today from Al. Big Al. He wrote it himself. We'll be right back. Show's called Your Money Wealth. Hey, welcome back to the show, folks. We're talking Social Security and some claiming strategies. Has your strategy changed? I hope it didn't, but if it did, make sure you get the information. Go to yourmoneyyourwealth.com. We have a great Social Security guide for all of you that are watching this. Yourmoneyyourwealth.com, click on that special offer. Before we get into the meat and potatoes, let's see how you did on that true-false question.
Even though I personally don't qualify for Social Security benefits, as soon as I reach age 62, I can always collect a spousal benefit. Joe, always is almost always false, that particular word, and it's false in this case as well.
Yeah, the rules changed quite a bit here in the last several years in regards to spousal benefits. If you're married and have been married, you can claim a spousal benefit, which is half of your spouse's benefit. You can claim that benefit as early as 62, so that is true. But your spouse needs to be claiming the benefit for you to receive that spousal benefit. So let's kind of jump in here. So current spouse or former spouse. So let's say if you were married for 10 years, got a divorce, you can still claim on that ex-spouse. All right, you can still claim on that ex-spouse's benefit. You have to be at least 62, all right? So those rules don't necessarily change. But if you're currently married, that spouse, your spouse needs to be claiming the benefit. Before there was like file and suspend, so one spouse would file for their benefit, then suspend them, let them grow. That triggered the spouse to claim the spousal benefit, but those rules are no longer. Now, if you're claiming on an ex-spouse's benefit, just understand here that your ex-spouse needs to be 62. Doesn't necessarily need to be claiming, but needs to be eligible for their benefits. All right. It doesn't affect the ex-spouse's benefits too. So if your ex-spouse is claiming on yours, it's not going to affect your benefit, right? So relax. Everyone's like, well, they're going to take my benefits. No, it doesn't necessarily work that way, right, Al? And then, of course, the benefit is 50%. So if my benefit is $2,000, right, my spouse's benefit would be $1,000. The spouse can claim early too. They could claim as early as 62. They would just receive less than 50% of the benefit. Right. But one of the issues that we see is that, well, how about if the spouse waits until age 70? Do they get that increased benefit?
Yeah, and the answer there, of course, is at full retirement age is where it stops. So in other words, your spouse, whatever their benefit is at full retirement age, if you wait for your full retirement age, you'll receive 50% of that benefit. If you continue to wait until age 70, there's no increase in that spousal benefit. And so that's another misconception, Joe, is people think, well, I'm supposed to get half of my spouse's benefit, and you had a spouse that waited to age 70. It's like, no, it would have been what that spouse would have had at age 66.
Right, but it does work on the survivor benefit. So the spousal benefit, you would receive half of your spouse's benefit, and then let's say one of those spouses dies. Then automatically the surviving spouse will receive the higher of the two benefits, all right? They will receive the higher of the two because you had two benefits, one spouse has died, so what the Social Security Administration says, all right, we'll give you the higher of the two. So you can claim that spousal benefit as early as age 60, and you're going to receive 100% of the benefit because you're either going to lose yours or you're going to lose your spouse's, depending on who passes and who has the highest benefits. So that's where claiming strategies come into play here, is that, all right, well, do I want to get a larger benefit to protect my spouse? If I'm the higher wage earner, it might make sense. If I'm a lower wage earner, maybe I claim it as soon as possible. So, I mean, you just got to play with the numbers, I guess.
Yeah, I think so, Joe. And when you think about when to claim, in some cases, people that should be claiming early, one of the main things is if you need the money, if you need the cash flow, if there's no other way to do this, if you get laid off and you're not going to be able to get work, you need the money, then go ahead and claim early. Well, that would be something. If you and your spouse don't expect normal life expectancy, have impaired life expectancy, that would be another reason to claim. And I hate to say it, Joe, but some people don't think Social Security is going to be around, and if you're kind of in that camp, then go ahead and claim early.
Well, I mean, there's issues, right? There's a ton of issues within the overall trust funds. You take a look at 2035, they're exhausted. And so with the numbers today, it's looking at, all right, well then maybe 25% of the benefits are going to be cut if they don't do anything to the system. We're hearing, what, payroll cuts?
Potentially.
Okay.
Right.
We had this year a lot of people unemployed, not putting into the system. And so that's triggering some people to say, you know what, I want to claim it as soon as I possibly can. Could Social Security be means tested? Maybe you have large pensions or you have a very large 401k balance that is kicking off a lot of ordinary income. Could they reduce your benefit there? Possibly, because they did the same thing to Medicare. The higher the income that you have with Medicare, the higher your Medicare premiums are. So there's a lot of different things that you have to consider here. I mean, what's your political beliefs? We're just looking at the numbers, but you also have to be realistic too.
Well, you do, and so assuming that Social Security is going to be around, which we believe it can be fixed, it's been fixed before, then as far as claiming later is if you don't need the cash flow, or at least you or your spouse, one of the two of you expects to have a longer life expectancy, that would be a reason to claim later.
Well, the problem, I think, too, is that people think of Social Security, if they claim early, you have all sorts of different assumptions of this break even. I'm going to claim early, I want money in my pocket right now, and I'm going to be better off because I'll take that and I'll invest it. Or they'll do something because they want to burn the hand. So if you look at this chart here, let's say your benefit is at $2,000 per month, hypothetically, and if you claimed it at 62, you'd receive $1,500. And if you waited until age 70, you would receive $2,600. So then you're like, oh, what's that break even? We don't look at it this way. We don't think Social Security is an investment. It's an income stream. It's longevity insurance that's given to us by the government, for, I guess, giving our money back to us in a form of a retirement income check. But let's say if your life expectancy is 80, okay? Well, if I took it at 62, I'm going to get about 350 grand out of the system. Not bad. If I take it at full retirement age, 360. So 340 to 360, it's a couple of bucks. But if I wait till 316, so I lose here, right? Because if I have shorter life expectancy, I only really have, 10 years if I waited to age 70, right? If I have a longer life expectancy, okay, well at 2000, I'm going to receive 600 bucks or 600,000 out of the system. At 70, it's 630, right? Or 522. So it's going to make sense for us to push this off. And where's life expectancy going, right? We're living a lot longer. And you know, you look at this kind of chart here, is that, well, the break even, if you really want to know what that break even is, I guess depends on the assumptions, Al, is what? Maybe age 80, 81?
80-ish is usually the break-even, Joe. And I think it's important to realize that when you're thinking about the highest benefit, we just talked about when you can afford to wait and have the highest wage earner wait maybe to age 70, then there's a higher benefit for whoever the survivor is. And right now we know statistically that a married couple age 65, one of the married couple, 50% chance is going to live to age 92. That's the current stats. With advances in medical advances, that will probably be stretched out further. So yeah, Joe, we really don't really think of this as an investment, as you said. It's more like longevity insurance, because we are living so much longer.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, you think of it like this, right? If you wait, why do people take it early, right? Because either they don't trust the system, you're going to get the money in hand and you're going to do whatever you want with it, which is great, which is fine, or you need the cash flow, right? Then take it. But if you're going to try to play games with this here, you'd say, hey, maybe I'm going to get more money out of the system because I'm going to invest it at a certain rate. Well, right now, I don't know, there's a guaranteed 8% delayed retirement credit that the Social Security admin is giving us. So the longer we push out, the more money that we have. And let's say if you wait until age 70, right, you have a larger benefit, then you drop dead the next day. You're not going to complain. Right? You're not going to complain. And then your spouse, if you're married, is going to have a lot larger benefit for his or her life. So just think of Social Security, in our opinion, as longevity insurance, just to make sure that, you know, the family's taken care of. All right, we're going to take another break. When we get back, we're going to wrap the show up, talk a little bit more claiming strategies, and a lot more. The show's called Your Money, Your Wealth. Hey, welcome back to the show. Show's called Your Money or Wealth. Joe Anderson and Alan Clopine talking Social Security strategies today. Go to yourmoneyyourwealth.com. Get our special offer. It's our Social Security guide. Yourmoneyyourwealth.com. Just click on it. You can download it right there on your personal computer or any handheld device. Before we get into some interesting claiming strategies, let's go to the true-false question.
If you delay claiming Social Security past your full retirement age, you will accrue a delayed retirement credits that will increase your monthly payments by 8% per year each year of the delay. And that is a true statement. That's why we recommend, if you can afford it, wait till age 70, and it's at full retirement age, which right now is age 66, and that's if you're born in 1954 or earlier. Starting in 1955, it becomes 66 in 2 months and eventually gets to age 67. But you get so much more income on a monthly basis if you wait. It's really a good thing, Joe, if you can afford it.
You know, you look at retirement planning today, you got to figure out, you know, what are you really trying to accomplish? Because you can toggle some things. If you delay your Social Security, not Social Security, but just your retirement by 1 or 2 years. Instead of retiring at 62, retire at 64. You're pushing out your Social Security for a couple of years. You're saving a little bit more money into your retirement accounts, right? You're giving it more time to grow. There's so many different combinations that you have to look at. But yes, if you can delay it to age 70, we're living a heck of a lot longer. I think more people should run the numbers just to see what makes sense.
Well, I think so too. And sometimes people realize they made a mistake.
Yeah, right after the show, they're like,
right.
You know what?
What did I do?
Yeah, I'm stuck.
So there's a couple ways to fix it if you claimed too early. One is if you do it within 24 months. So that's what this is. It's a complete do-over. You got to pay back the money though, which is painful for a lot of people because you probably already spent it. But you can do that if you claim earlier than you should have, as long as you undo it within 12 months and pay the money back. It's kind of no harm, no foul. The other one that might be a little bit more realistic for folks is you can suspend your benefits after full retirement age all the way to age 70 and then get that 8% credit per year.
Yeah, you claimed at 66, and then now it's after 12 months, it's 67. You're like, well, you know what? Hey, maybe I go back to work. I'm working part-time. I don't necessarily need the income. You can suspend it and let it grow, which is a pretty cool deal. Let's talk claiming strategies. Let's take a look at what people should do given certain scenarios.
Yeah, and I think right off the bat, let's talk about both spouses have similar lifetime earnings. So, okay, what do you do in that situation? So in this particular case, both spouses may want to delay to age 70, and the assumption is that both spouses anticipate long lives, right? And then obviously the benefit is that there's a higher payment stream for life. So, and of course that assumes that they can afford to wait. And so that's one scenario. Another scenario might be, Joe, one spouse earns more than the other.
Yeah, I think that's more common that we see. Either the wife is making a lot more than the husband, or the husband makes a lot more than the wife. But then it's like, well, what do you do there, right? So it really gets in the weeds. I mean, this is in a bubble, right? You have to really take a look at what is your overall other retirement income, what do you have for balances in retirement accounts and other things. But just in a bubble here, Al, what should people do?
So in this case, what you might really want to do is have the higher wage earner wait till age 70, just like we talked about, right? Because the survivor, whoever survives the two of them, will get that higher benefit for the rest of their life. So that's why that would make a lot of sense. The lower wage earner could delay, or they could collect early. And in some cases, people like the fact that maybe we're getting some income at maybe age 66, but we delay the greater benefit to age 70 for the survivor. Of course, the assumption there is that at least one spouse is going to live a longer life. If both spouses have impaired life expectancy, it may not be a good idea. And obviously the benefit is higher income for life for the survivor, but yet current income right now.
I mean, yeah, this is really easy if we know when we're going to die, right? If we know exactly when we're going to die, we can pinpoint the exact strategy to maximize your benefits. But there's an unknown, right? We don't know when that's going to happen, so you want to make sure that you plan appropriately and make the best possible decision possible. And then now, let's just say if there's one spouse, a single individual, what's the best plan there?
Yeah, so it depends which benefit's going to be more important. So here's one spouse has earned income. So the earner spouse may want to delay till age 70 for that higher income for the two of them, for the survivor. Or the spouse may want to claim at full retirement age, which, as I said, right now is age 66, because the other spouse can receive a spousal benefit. Now, of course, that's presuming they're roughly the same age. And Joe, where this gets so complicated is when they're different ages, and then you have all these different scenarios. There's something like 256 claiming strategies when you really boil down to it.
Right, I think it's more than that, isn't it? Like
maybe it's in the thousands.
550, 527 or something like that. For some individuals, the file and suspend claiming strategies, they suspended those, but they grandfathered people in. So we're just talking probably the 90 percentile here. So there's going to be scenarios. You know, some of you might have a pension where you're going to have the windfall elimination provision or the government offset provision. You know, there's all sorts of different rules and regulations when it comes to Social Security. We're just, scraping the surface here. So if you need more help with that, just go to our website, yourmoneyyourwealth.com, and then click on, you got it, the Social Security guide. Let's switch gears, bud. Let's do this. Let's go to Ask the Experts.
I am 59. I was married to my wife for 8 months before she suddenly passed away. Over her career, she earned more money than me. Do I qualify for the higher Social Security benefit? This is from Don in Leucadia. Joe, what say you?
What say you, Al?
I would say probably not, right? Because you have to be married for 9 months before you can get that spousal benefit, so you may be out of luck.
Yeah, so 12 months is or 10 years is for the spousal benefit. But then if you get married and then they pass away in 8 months of your wedding date, you don't qualify for the survivor benefit.
Yeah, it has to be 9 months. It's unfortunate, but that's the general rule.
Let's go to the next question.
My first wife of 18 years just turned 60 and says she's going to claim my Social Security benefit. Since we divorced 5 years ago, can she claim my larger benefit? If so, will it impact my benefit since I don't plan to claim Social Security until I'm 70? From Pete in Escondido. And this question we get all the time, Pete, which is, my ex-wife's going to claim the benefit. That's an atrocity. Is that going to affect my benefit? Fortunately, the answer is no. It doesn't affect your benefit at all. And she can claim it if she qualifies.
It's just a factor that they're looking at. What is your benefit at full retirement age? And then they look at, all right, for the spousal benefit, it's going to be half that. If you wait until age 70 and you have a lot larger benefit, right? So some people will be like, all right, do I get half of the larger benefit? Let's see what we learned today. First things first is who can qualify, right? You got 10 years, 40 quarters, you can qualify for a Social Security benefit. You can increase your overall benefit if you delayed. Remember, you get an 8% delayed retirement credit starting at your full retirement age. You can claim at 62, so if you want to claim it early, go ahead. Just understand that you're going to have a reduced benefit. It might make sense to wait until age 70. And of course, there's always going to be different claiming strategies in regards to if you're married, if you're a widow, widower, if you're divorced. You could be divorced multiple times. Then you got all sorts of different options there. So a lot of things to consider with Social Security. It's been a trying year here, and so you might want to take a relook at your overall claiming strategies. Go to yourmoneyyourwealth.com, click on that special offer. That is our gift to you. That's it for us today. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. We will see you again next week. Show's called Your Money, Your Wealth.